The text popped up just as I was confirming catering for the downtown shelter's Thanksgiving event. Bending the holiday at Olivia's this year after what happened at the summer reunion. We think it's best you skip this one. We want a peaceful holiday. My mother's words glowed on my screen like a scarlet stamp of rejection. My name is Danielle Carter. I'm 36 years old, and for the first time in my life, I've been officially uninvited from Thanksgiving. The so-called incident at the reunion? I dared to confront my sister Olivia for draining our late father's retirement fund to bankroll her influencer wellness brand. Apparently, telling the truth is causing drama in our family. Perfect, I typed back, my fingers steady even as my chest burned. Hope you enjoy your peaceful holiday. Mom replied instantly, don't be like that, Danielle. You know how fragile Olivia is about money right now. Fragile, right? I set my phone down and scanned my Manhattan apartment. Kitchen countertops cluttered with recipe cards and grocery lists I'd prepared for our family feast. Traditions I'd kept alive, even after Dad passed 3 years ago. Olivia didn't just steal his savings. She stole the last tangible link to him. As guilt threatened to choke me, my phone buzzed again. This time, Marcus, the shelter director. Danielle, please tell me you're still helping with Thanksgiving. We've doubled the number of families this year. I glanced at my mother's text, then at the stack of recipes. Marcus, I'm not just helping. I'm all in. My day just cleared up. He laughed in relief. You have no idea what that means to us. The kids adore you. You make this holiday magical for them. For the first time all morning, I smiled. The shelter had become my lifeline after Dad died, a place to channel grief into something good. While Olivia flaunted her curated life on Instagram with stolen money, I built something real. That evening, my phone rang again. Dad's old number flashed across the screen, now Mom's line. Danielle, it's your father. Your mom told me about the text. Don't you think you're overreacting? Olivia's going through a tough time. Tough time. My voice sharpened. Is running a luxury brand on stolen retirement money a crisis now? That's not fair, he muttered. She's trying to build a future. On what Dad earned, I shot back. Silence crackled through the line. I hung up, exhaling slowly. This Thanksgiving wouldn't be peaceful for them. But for me, it would finally be purposeful. No, what's not fair is everyone pretending what she did was okay. What's not fair is uninviting me from Thanksgiving because I refused to play along. We're not uninviting you, Dad. You mean by explicitly telling me not to come? I asked, my voice icy. Interesting definition of not uninviting, Dad. After hanging up, I threw myself into planning the downtown shelter's Thanksgiving celebration. If my family wanted to crown Olivia the victim, fine. I had better ways to spend my holiday. Over the next few days, the texts started rolling in. Aunt Lisa, can't you just apologize to keep the peace? Cousin Brian, Olivia's really hurt you called her out publicly. Even Grandma chimed in, family should forgive, dear. Not a single one of them mentioned the actual theft. Not one asked why Olivia had access to Dad's retirement savings or why she felt entitled to bankroll her luxury wellness brand with it. The pattern was exhausting. Olivia makes a mess. Everyone rushes to protect her feelings, and I'm the villain for pointing out the obvious. A week before Thanksgiving, Olivia went on Instagram with a 20-slide story about toxic family members and choosing peace over drama. Her followers flooded her comments with heart emojis and affirmations, none of them realizing she was talking about me, the sister whose father's life savings funded her curated lifestyle. So, I channeled my anger into action. What started as a modest dinner for the shelter turned into a full-day event. I secured donations from local restaurants, organized volunteers, arranged entertainment, and even booked a photographer. Marcus, the director, was thrilled. This could bring major media attention and help us fundraise for next year, he said, beaming. Are you sure you can handle this? He asked gently. I know holidays have been hard since your dad. I'm sure, I said, and I meant it. It was time for new traditions. The day before Thanksgiving, Mom made one last attempt. Olivia feels terrible. She'll discuss paying you back if you apologize for embarrassing her at the reunion. I stared at the message, calm washing over me. 2 years of watching my sister flaunt a lifestyle funded by stolen money. 2 years of being told to let it go. And now they wanted to negotiate. No need, I typed. I've got plans for tomorrow. Enjoy your peaceful holiday." Then I silenced my phone and returned to finalizing the details. My family wanted peace. They could have it. I'd found something better, purpose. I had something better planned, something that would show them exactly what they chose to exclude me from, and more importantly, what I'd built without them. Little did they know, their peaceful Thanksgiving was about to become the most talked about story in the city, and not for the reasons they imagined. Thanksgiving morning dawned crisp and bright. While my family gathered at Olivia's sleek Upper East Side condo for their curated celebration, I arrived at the downtown shelter at 6 a.m. A team of volunteers was already buzzing with energy, transforming the main hall into something extraordinary. Autumn garlands draped along the walls, long tables covered in deep burgundy linens, and centerpieces crafted by kids from our youth program. "The local news crew will be here by noon," Marcus announced as he adjusted the welcome station. "They're doing a special feature on community Thanksgivings. And guess who they want to interview?" I looked up from the seating cards, half smiling. "Please tell me you're joking." "Nope. They specifically asked for the coordinator who turned a modest dinner into." He checked his phone. A testament to the true spirit of Thanksgiving. The irony hit me like a drumbeat. My family had cast me out for starting drama, and now I'd be live on television for bringing people together. By 11 a.m., the center pulsed with life. Local restaurants rolled in trays of steaming dishes. Bakeries sent boxes of pies, and volunteers streamed through the doors with homemade contributions. The scent of turkey and warm spices filled the air, a comforting echo of the holidays I once knew. Before Dad's death, before Olivia's betrayal, before my family traded justice for appearances, my phone stayed off, tucked deep in my bag. I didn't need to see their messages or Olivia's inevitable Instagram stories about choosing joy over negativity. Today wasn't about them. The news crew arrived on schedule. Sarah, the reporter, surveyed the scene in awe. "You organized all of this?" she asked, gesturing toward the bustling hall. "What inspired you to turn a small dinner into something this big?" I thought of my mother's text, that single sentence that had cut me out. Then I looked straight into the camera. "Sometimes," I said, "when one door closes, you build a bigger one and leave it open for everyone. This isn't just a meal. It's a place where no one gets uninvited for speaking the truth." The interview rolled on as families filed in, neighbors, seniors from nearby apartments, college kids stuck in the city, all welcomed without question. Laughter and music replaced silence. Around 2 p.m., my phone buzzed in my bag. I turned it on only to coordinate with volunteers, but I knew the storm of messages waiting, and this time I smiled. If you want to see what happens when my family turns on the TV and realizes the person they uninvited is now the face of Thanksgiving across New York, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss part 2. Now my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Curious, I glanced at the screen. The local news station had already posted clips from our celebration online. My interview was trending across their social media, and apparently, my family had seen it. Missed calls from mom and dad, texts from relatives, and a string of frantic messages from Olivia lit up the screen. "How dare you make this about you? Mom's crying because of your stunt. You're ruining everyone's Thanksgiving." I smiled, slipped the phone back into my pocket, and let them watch what they excluded themselves from. Let them see their dramatic daughter create something beautiful without them. The afternoon passed in a joyful blur. We served over 300 meals, organized games for kids, and even held an impromptu talent show where seniors shared songs and stories from decades past. The room pulsed with laughter, warmth, and gratitude. Everything Thanksgiving was supposed to be. Photographers captured it all. Kids painting pumpkins, volunteers plating pies, neighbors hugging neighbors. Marcus grinned as he passed me a slice of pecan pie. "This is better than any family dinner I've ever been to. No drama, just pure celebration. And no one had to be uninvited to keep the peace," I added, loud enough for a few guests to chuckle knowingly. By early evening, the story hit the evening news. Clips of our bustling hall filled the screen. Volunteers serving meals, kids playing, families laughing. Then came my interview, me speaking about the power of community and what it means to create spaces where everyone belongs. The reporter closed with, "A shining example of turning personal loss into community gain." I could picture Olivia's elegant living room, their curated Thanksgiving dinner, now overshadowed by phone calls from friends. Did you see the news? Wasn't that your sister? So much for their peaceful holiday. As messages poured in, not from family, but from strangers, my heart swelled. Community members, businesses, and even city officials reached out to praise the event and ask how to help next year. Donations doubled, then tripled. The shelter's social media exploded. Danielle, Marcus called, his face glowing. "You're not going to believe this. The mayor's office wants to feature our celebration in the city's annual holiday guide, and they want us to make it a tradition." I thought about Dad, about how proud he'd be to see this. Something real, something lasting, born from love, not vanity. An annual tradition. I smiled, watching volunteers pack leftover meals for shelters. That sounds perfect. After all, everyone deserves a place at the table. As the evening wound down, I finally checked my phone. Among the flood of notifications, one message made me stop cold. It wasn't another angry text or guilt trip. It was from Grandma Rose. "I saw you on TV. James would be proud. Can we talk?" Of all my relatives, Grandma Rose had been the only one to quietly question Olivia's sudden success after Dad's death. The only one who called during those dark months when grief hollowed me out. Her message felt like a lifeline. The next morning, I drove to her small townhouse in Queens. She was waiting on the porch, a worn photo album resting on her lap. "I have something to show you," she said, patting the seat beside her. Inside were faded photos, long tables, homemade meals, neighbors smiling despite hard times. "Your grandfather and I started this back in '75 when the factory closed," she explained softly. "We hosted Thanksgiving for laid-off workers and their families. What you did yesterday, it runs in your blood." I ran my fingers over an image of her serving turkey to a crowd. "I never knew." "Of course you didn't. No one talks about it anymore. It doesn't fit their picture-perfect narrative." She shut the album carefully, her eyes fierce. "But what you did, that's real family. That's real peace." My phone buzzed again. A new text from Olivia. "Mom's a mess because of your publicity stunt. Hope you're happy." Grandma read it over my shoulder and shook her head. "I've stayed quiet too long," she muttered, already pulling out her phone. "Time someone besides you spoke up." Before I could answer, she had my mother on speaker. "Mom," came my mother's tired voice. "Margaret." Grandma's tone was sharp as steel. "We need to talk about what really happened with James' insurance money." What followed was the conversation I'd been fighting for 2 years. Grandma laid everything bare. How Olivia convinced her to give her temporary access while she was drowning in grief. How she siphoned off funds for her brand. How the family ignored it to keep the peace. "She's paying it back," Mom protested weakly. Only after Danielle exposed her, Grandma fired back. "And you punished Danielle for telling the truth. You uninvited your grieving daughter to protect the one who stole from her. Explain that." The silence on the line was deafening. Finally, Mom whispered, "I need to think about this." My mother finally said those words and hung up. Grandma Rose squeezed my hand. "Give it time," she murmured. "Truth has a way of breaking through eventually." She was right. By Sunday, the cracks started to show. Dad called first, his voice heavy, almost fragile. "I watched your interview again. You said something about not uninviting people for speaking the truth." There was a pause. "Princess, I'm so sorry." Then came Aunt Lisa. "I saw those kids talking about their art classes. Danielle, what you've built, it's incredible. We should have seen it sooner." Even my mother finally called, her voice trembling like glass. "Your grandmother, she made me see things differently. We were so worried about keeping the peace that we lost sight of what was right." Olivia, predictably, chose a different route. She posted a long video about toxic family members and choosing to rise above negativity. But this time, the comments weren't a chorus of praise. People who'd seen our community celebrations started asking questions she couldn't spin. A week after Thanksgiving, the downtown shelter hosted a planning meeting for the future. The response was overwhelming. Local businesses pledged sponsorships. Volunteers filled every available slot. The mayor's office promised funding for expanded programs. Marcus grinned as he handed me a folder. Your holiday dinner sparked something huge. People are calling it everyone's table, a place where no one gets uninvited. I love the name. It embodied everything my family's so-called peaceful Thanksgiving had lacked: inclusion, honesty, real peace. Grandma Rose became a regular at the center, swapping stories from her own community building days and teaching kids her famous pie recipes. She even brought those faded photos from the 70s for our bulletin board, a visual reminder that the best traditions are the ones that welcome everyone, not shut people out. To my quiet surprise, my parents started volunteering too. At first, they kept to the background, sorting canned goods, organizing donation lists, but slowly they leaned in with real intention. They never said the words, "We're sorry for uninviting you," but their actions whispered it louder than any apology ever could. Olivia kept her distance. Her victim narrative unraveled when reality pushed back. The insurance money? It's being repaid now, slowly, grudgingly. But that relationship may never mend. And maybe that's okay. As for me, I found something far more valuable than a seat at her glossy Thanksgiving table. I found purpose, a community, a family that measures love in actions, not appearances. Yesterday, we held our first planning session for next year's celebration. I watched Grandma Rose teaching kids to fold paper turkeys, my parents laughing as they sorted donations, Marcus coordinating calls with local businesses, and I realized something profound. Sometimes being uninvited from one table forces you to build a bigger, better one. And this table? Everyone's welcome, drama and all. I want to hear from you. After everything that happened, being uninvited, building something bigger, and finding my true purpose, your voice matters to me. What would you have done in my place? Would you have walked away quietly or fought for your seat at the table? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your perspective could help someone else who feels excluded right now. And if you've ever faced a situation where family chose appearances over truth, share your advice. How did you handle it? Did you forgive? Did you create your own path like I did? Your stories and lessons can inspire others who feel like outsiders today. Finally, if you believe in standing up for yourself, in turning pain into purpose, and in building communities where everyone belongs, please hit that subscribe button. Every click tells the world that honesty matters more than hollow peace. And stay tuned because what happens next might surprise you. Trust me, this story isn't over yet.